All right, you determine it's time to make your way to the hospital. All right, you're driving down the road and your woman is like, hey dude, this baby's coming right now, okay? It happens, all right? It happens. So, this is what you want to do. First, pull over to the side of the road, get 911 on the phone, all right? You are going to be totally set up to deliver this baby if that's what the universe wants to happen, all right? You pull over if you can, because things sometimes happen fast. Yes, even with the first one. It's more rare with the first one, right? Because, after the first one and a woman's given birth already, things are, a little bit, things already happened once and her body knows what to do and all of that. Not that her body doesn't know what to do now, although it's more common, with a birth past the first birth, all right? Although, again, anything can happen, all right? Anything can happen. So you pull over, you get 911 on the line. If you can, get her into the back seat simply because you'll have more room to work, okay? You get her in the back seat and, all right, her legs are spread and you see the baby. What's going to happen is the baby's head is going to crown, meaning the baby's head is coming through the birth canal, all right? So, this is the main stuff for you to understand if you really are in this predicament, all right? And what you might have to do. So you're going to see the baby's head crowning. First, just so you know, because, the first time I saw this, I was like, whoa, what's what? The baby's head, it looks kind of like brains because depending on how much hair they have, the skin is pushed, the head, everything's squeezed. So the skin flaps look squiggly, all right? It's not brains. It's just their skin on the top of their head. All right. So now the head's coming through. What you will need to do is you might need to get in there, okay? And take your hand. You're going to need to slide it into her vagina, okay, to kind of help guide this kid out. All right, and what's going to need to happen is you're going to need to help roll the shoulders, right? So you come in, you're rolling one shoulder, okay? You're going to roll the other shoulder, and then here you want to be careful here. Once you roll these shoulders, make it through the birth canal. There's a lot of pressure here, okay? A lot of pressure. So the baby is under a lot of pressure. So you want to put a little counter pressure, meaning you'll have one hand underneath the baby, okay, one on the head, so you get the shoulders past, and then you want to ease the baby out, right? Ease the baby out onto the seat right away. You give baby to mama just like this. Don't touch the cord at all. Don't touch it. It's going to be hanging out there. God willing, everything kind of came out and normal. Put the baby on mama's chest. All right, at this point already, if the emergency service comes or an ambulance, if the baby was born and everything seems okay, the chances are they wouldn't transfer her to the ambulance, okay? Unless there's some kind of emergency, God forbid, okay? If everything came out, don't touch the cord, baby on mama, they'll give you an escort to the hospital. They'll bring a wheelchair out and they'll take care of everything from there. However, the main, ultimately, everything running smoothly and how it's designed to happen, that's what will happen and that's what you're going to see during the birth when we get there. Okay? So just in case. Now, I never had any guys in my class who had to do this, although a couple of guys from class, one guy specifically, his good friend had to deliver the baby on the side of the road, and he was freaking out because he really didn't want to do it, and he totally could. And so can you. You totally could do it if you need to do it, all right? And now, basically, that's what you need to know, all right? All right, so let's just say that doesn't happen, and you guys determine it's time to go to the hospital, and you make it there, right? Typically, there's an area where you park, and you guys, depending, again, on her circumstance, you might need a wheelchair if she's like, not able to move good, depending on your circumstance. Or you guys walk in, get her checked in, go move the car, or you park the car, you get yourself into the hospital. All right, you check in. Hi, I'm Charlie. This is Sally. We're here to have a baby. Okay, super cool. They say, okay, here you are. You sign in. They're going to give you some more paperwork, okay? Then what in most hospitals, birth centers, they're going to want to check her to make sure she's actually in labor. So that's called triage, right? So they usually go into a little room off of the lobby in the birthing floor, and the nurses will check her blood pressure. They're going to check to see if she's dilated. And here, let's just say, for argument's sake, in our flow here, that yes, indeed, she's dilating and it's time to rock and roll. What's going to happen is they'll say, okay, the room is ready, or we need to get a room ready for you. So you'll either sit in the lobby for a couple of minutes and schmooze it up with the other folks that are having babies, and or right to the birthing room. All right. And depending on how big your hospital is or the birthing center, there may be one room, okay, that is the birthing, delivery, and recovery room. And or like in a birthing center, in a birthing center, everything usually happens in that one room, okay? In hospitals, there's oftentimes a birthing labor room and then a recovery room, and sometimes even on different floors. Again, that comes into your community, your country, where you're at, the size of the hospital, all of that, all right? Regardless of any of that, the flow of the births is all going to be basically the same, okay? Just the different parts and pieces. So let's say, okay, she's ready to go, and you get back into a room. This is what's going to happen when you get back into the room. When you get back into the room, they're going to put your woman into a gown, right? You're going to drop off your supplies, and here's a good time to just kind of weave in again. It's a great idea for you, Dad, to also have a bag, right? You could download, I have a list for you on what to bring to the hospital and what to pack, all right? You're going to be there for a relatively normal, healthy, standard issue vaginal birth with epidural, without epidural, 2 days in a hospital. In a birth center, you usually go home that same day, my friend, okay? You're there for like 12, 14 hours after the birth for them to make sure everything's smooth and everything's good. And then at a birth center, they send you home, which is great, okay? Home is a great place to be. In a hospital, you'll typically stay 2 days-ish, okay? With a C-section, you're looking at more like 3-4 days, depending. Insurance, complications, any of those things. It could be up to a week. We're talking like run-of-the-mill, standard issue, healthy, normal C-section, 3-4 days. Again, depending on the hospital, your insurance, those things come into play. Although, on average, about 3 days in the hospital. Okay? And if you're at home, you're at home. Okay. So let's just say you're in either a hospital setting or even a birth setting or even your home setting. Your woman's going to get an IV put in, okay, a port. They're going to take some blood samples. The reason why, yes, even at home, she would get an IV port put in is because one of the main, issues that could happen during birth is a hemorrhage. And they need to be able to put some anticoagulant, coagulant, whatever agent. They have very powerful agents, drugs that help the blood to clot, okay, super fast. They need to be able to get that in case of an emergency. So she's going to get a port. And P.S., we didn't spend too much time chatting about this, and something that really blew my mind. You know, we touched on the fact that a lot of women who do want or have, you know, would think about having a natural birth, even a home birth, they meet with a lot of resistance from us dudes because, again, we're like, dude, is that even safe? You know, a lot of us, we want the safest situation, and there's a lot of fear. I mean, oh my God, if we're at home, we're not in a hospital, it's scary, right? And I'm here to share with you look, I've been in this world a long time in the birthing world, and I know a lot of at-home, you know, home birth certified midwives. And I'm here to share with you that, you know, I'm not going to tell you it's safer, okay? I'm not going to say that. But I will say that it's as safe. I will say, I mean, granted, at least in my perspective, if you're in a close enough distance to a hospital, you're within a few miles from a hospital, and look, every at-home practice, any midwife that is a certified at-home birth midwife, they are connected with a hospital, some kind of hospital that's just part of the deal, okay? So I am here to say, I was really surprised. But once you start to really understand it's a natural process and they have the same emergency stuff that they have in the hospital, I was kind of blown away, and I will say yes. You know, your woman is like, hey, I want to do a home birth, and at first you're like, no way. Maybe consider being open to it. Look, you're in your own place. There's a lot more freedom. It's as safe, I'm going to say, it's as safe with a certified at-home birthing midwife, okay, that is your midwife that's certified to do it. It's as safe, okay? So maybe you're in that camp and you weren't supporting it and you're like, oh, maybe, okay, because you just didn't know. If you don't know, it's hard to, you know, be like, okay, because we just don't know. And without even knowing all the details and knowing all these folks who are super certified, they believe me, they're not looking at any wanting emergencies. And they know if your woman, again, is on the healthy side and fits this criteria and she's thinking home birth, it could be kind of cool, and it's as safe, okay, with all those criteria. Okay. So regardless of where you're at, your woman is going to get an IV port, okay? Next, in a hospital setting, for sure, she's going to get 2 monitors. One is going to be for contractions, and the other is monitoring your baby's heartbeat, okay? And you get about like 10 feet of cord so you can kind of walk around. Nowadays, they don't often publicize it. However, if you're at a birth center or at a hospital, you can ask them. Sometimes they have Bluetooth monitors, so she has a bit more freedom to move around, right? Which is pretty cool. Not everybody knows that. So, hey, you could, when you go in, psst, hey, do you guys have any Bluetooth monitors? Oh, we happen to have some. Boop. Okay, you got to ask for those. They don't just give them out. All right. So you're in the room, you're settling in, she has the monitors on, and now essentially you're hanging out. It's a great idea now before the birth to start connecting on what, you know, Sheila's going to be cool with through the birth. All right. And I'm talking about, is she cool to like put some movies on, listen to music? And look, every dude and every couple, I've heard so many different scenarios, right? So sometimes you're coming into class and you guys have a plan and she's doing this and hypnobirthing or this kind of birthing and there's some techniques. And other times, I'm here to share with you, man, I'll have a lot of dudes coming to class and their women want a vaginal birth without any kind of epidural or drugs or anything, and they haven't taken a class or anything. Listen, if your woman, you guys, she's like, yeah, I want to do this natural if I can, it's a great idea to take a class, okay? Now, I will share with you, I'm about to share with you, my friend, pretty much a lot of the tools that a doula would use, right? So a doula is a labor and delivery coach, which are amazing, 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 amazing resources. And we're going to chat about that a little bit more. However, the bigger point here is a lot of people come in and they want to do a vaginal birth and they're not trained, supported, learned anything. All right. And yes, you are going to know more than most. All right. So yeah, you're going to be a little more prepared. However, if she really is like, hey, I would like to do this naturally, take a class or support her taking a class, learning some methods, at least some breathing techniques, a little bit of guidance. Okay. I'm just saying a lot of people come in with zero guidance expecting to be able to do a vaginal birth without any kind of guidance. The odds, let's just say, are not as strong if there's no guidance, no idea, no technique, nothing, no preparation, right? We prepare so you don't have to repair. So if you're in that category and you're in that camp, be like, hey babes, you know, if you do want it, I'm here to support you, and we should take some kind of techniques that's going to help you to do that and make that possible, okay? Let's just say you guys, she does want a vaginal birth at this point, and you do have some preparation going. You know, there's a lot of time, right? The first birth, typically about 18 hours of labor. Again, you know, I've had some guys come back and be like, hey man, 3 hours and it was so smooth and easy and all of that. That's not the norm, okay? It happens. It happens. It could happen to you and your woman. Not the norm, okay? It's usually this long period of time, which, again, so many dudes come to me, you know, not realizing we're the activity director through this process, okay? A lot of dudes just don't recognize that. You know, the nurses are there, all right, talking about the cast of characters who are involved with the birth. The nurses, your OB, your midwife, whoever is there, the doula. Now, yes, they are there to support the birth, and that's one of the only people that is there primarily just to support the birth. My point is that a lot of dudes don't recognize, they think the nurses are there to help support your woman through the birth. And as amazing as these women are and love and care and they're amazing, that's not their job to support your woman through the birth process. Which again, a lot of dudes don't realize. They walk into the birth and they think there's all this support and help. That's not the case, man. So here we are, and I'm sharing with you that you, my friend, are the activity director through the birth. That is your real role, is activity director. And as the activity director, all right, we're going to go over, and I created a labor and delivery cheat sheet for you, which is going to give you what to do and different positions you can move your woman through, right, to keep things moving, because just sitting in one place doesn't help the baby progress as quickly and as effectively as having her move around. Again, if she's healthy and well enough and able and cleared to be able to move, that's going to be amazing. All right. And here, let's just chat a tiny bit about, and we're about to get into the cast of characters. Let's talk about a doula. A doula is a labor and delivery coach. All right. And if your woman is desiring at all, wherever she is on the spectrum, if she is in any of this area of wanting or desiring a vaginal birth without medication, a doula, I think, is a serious way to increase the odds of that happening in a real way. Doulas are amazing. Okay, again, let's talk about the birth experience, right? Not as this end game situation, you know, going to all these appointments, just trying to get to that birth, doing the birth, focusing the birth. The birth is an experience, right, of you bringing your baby, getting your baby. the experience of birth is so much more chill when you have a doula. Again, if she's like all about the epidural, look, even if she wants an epidural, a supported birth, meaning having a doula, having some other females in the room, proven by studies, it just helps women be more calm. They did a study with a woman behind a curtain in the delivery room, and it still helped the woman to be calmer. Having a doula is such an amazing way to increase the odds of facilitating the healthiest, most chill vaginal birth possible, because they're trained in pain management, labor. They know what's what. They know what phase she's going through. They're calming your woman down. They're running the fingers through her hair. All stuff that you can be doing, and we're going to talk about. And having someone there that's only focused on you guys, right? That's on your payroll. Because again, you're the activity director. And yes, I mean, you're all gung-ho, you're all in, amazing. And having some support is so nice, right? I mean, it's worth a couple of bucks. If you have the means to have a doula, it's really great because she is helping. She's the real activity director. And you're then really for support, and she's bringing you in, Dad, right? The more relaxed your woman is, the more relaxed you can be, the more grounded, chill, ready for the baby. You're in the support role. You are running your fingers through your woman's hair. You're there for her. You guys are hanging out. It's just nice to have a person, an extra person who's trained, right? And again, you are going to know more than most dudes and most people, right, to support this process. And we did not have a doula for our first birth, and there were complications. And then we did for the second, third, and fourth birth. No complications, no epidural. Our smallest baby was 8 pounds, 8.5 pounds. And Michelle was able to birth all of them without any epidural. And I got to tell you, she felt super empowered. And it was this amazing experience, and a lot to do with Penny, our doula. We love you, Penny. She's still with us, Penny. Okay, wherever you are, sending you love. Amazing experience. Again, in this world of doulas, similar to lactation consultants, some are very passionate, and yes, when you have a doula involved, it usually means your woman wants a vaginal birth without any drugs, okay? And some are more passionate than others, okay? So again, you want to date some. You want to be on the same page. Most doulas are super chill, man, and they are on the page that you're on. They want to help support your woman to have the most natural, best experience with a birth. And look, some are more passionate, and you want to have these conversations. Like, look, we're all into the vaginal birth, no medication, and, if, Sally really wants the epidural, we're not looking to get into any kind of heated debates in the middle of birth. You want someone who's going to be rolling with the punches and still supporting and no issues. And most of the time that's the case, right? All of the folks in the birth support community, everyone just wants the safest, healthiest birth experience for your woman and for you and your baby. Okay, so you want to date a couple. Doulas are an amazing, amazing resource, okay? If you guys are considering a vaginal birth without an epidural, and even, depending on your woman, even with an epidural, having the support through the birth, it goes a long way to make everyone calmer and chiller. Our first birth, I'm like, Michelle, you're doing amazing. Everything looks great. And she's like, how do you know, dude? And I'm like, oh, right. I mean, it seems everything is okay. You know who does know? Yes, the nurses and everyone knows. But the doula she's there the whole time with you guys. It's nice. The nurses are in and out. Your OB really kind of comes in at the end. The midwives are in more often. Okay, usually, unless they're also delivering a bunch of babies. A doula's in there the whole time, right? And or good friend who's had some babies and she's there to support your woman. Just throwing that out there, okay? And if you want it just your woman and a doula, and no friends per se, and because it's more, she's on the payroll and she's there to help you guys. And yes, she's like one of the family and, a doula, we connect with our doulas. They're helping us with the birth. Just throwing it out there. Can't say enough about it. Date a few, pick one. It'll only increase the odds of your woman being successful at a natural vaginal birth without an epidural. Okay, of any kind of that stuff. Not to say, and who knows what's going to happen in there. Although, if that's what your woman is desiring, you can increase the odds by hiring a doula. And if you're not into it, okay, even after all of that, you are still going to know so many moves and what to do in the time, because it's really just a time game and moving things along. And that's why our role is really the activity director. Next, let's talk a little bit about the cast of characters that are going to be involved in the birth. All right. So yes, you and your woman, okay, and now nurses, right? Labor and delivery nurses. They're going to be in there checking on her. They would be the ones to order the epidural. They would be able to help in early stages. Your woman can get some painkillers, okay? Early stage painkillers, muscle relaxers, painkillers. They would only give those in the earlier stages of labor because they go through the blood-brain barrier and affect your baby. So they wouldn't give any painkillers towards the end. These painkillers last about 3-4 hours. They take the edge off. A lot of women really like that, okay? And it wouldn't be towards the end because it will affect your baby. Meaning, when your baby is born, they had a painkiller and muscle relaxer. So it could affect their latching on and the bonding and all of that. All right? So the nurses are in and out and they're taking care of different folks and they're beautiful and amazing and lovely. And yes, if you have a birth plan, usually birth plans, big picture birth plan means, you want a vaginal birth usually. And it means she doesn't want to be, told, every 5 minutes, do you want an epidural? Do you want an epidural? Do you want an epidural? Right? So women who want a more crunchy experience, they don't want that. You want to be the one saying, hey, we want the epidural or what we want, right? So more of what you want, that's a birth plan. Amazing! Figure out what you want. Just don't make it a novella, okay? Because they're not going to read it. I'm just here to tell you. And you want to verbalize to the nurses. If there are some things that you want to happen, hey, we'll ask you when we want the epidural. And, we're going to do a stem cell. We're going to save the stem cells. These are some of the things, here's the kit. These are some of the things you want to bring up to the nurses, okay? They're lovely, amazing people. And that's, their role. They're going to help support the birth. They're going to support the doctor, the OB, the midwife. These are support folks, all right? Now let's chat about whether you have an OB or a midwife and just the general kind of, experience, all right? OBs are amazing, lovely, beautiful individuals, and OBs are surgeons. OBs are surgeons. And it's when you're going to a practice that's only OBs, right? So there are practices that have midwives and OBs. And then there are practices that are just OBs. So, again, I'm here with you. Do you know? Sometimes I'm in class and dudes don't know. Oh, I don't know. Are we having an OB, a midwife? That's okay. You want to find out. All right? And just so you know the general big picture difference, all right? Because OBs are surgeons and this is very medical model-ish, okay, around birth, okay, meaning, medical model. They are, again, being that they are a surgeon, they're more in the looking for if they're high risk, And, do they potentially need a C-section? And look, I'm treading carefully here because, I'm not putting any negative thing here on C-sections. And I do think more women could do natural birth, yes. And again, these are amazing people. And as a surgeon, they like to do surgery. Just saying. If you're a car mechanic, you like working on cars, okay? OBs are surgeons. So just having an understanding of the medical model and, they are more looking for warning signs and this kind of paradigm, all right? Again, beautiful, amazing people, and this is kind of the philosophy, the paradigm that they are working under. And over here in the midwife/OB world, midwives are more on the, hey, how do we make this the most natural birth possible for your woman, right? They're looking more to help this to be more of a, they're not looking for, they're trying to see how can we do a natural birth. Whereas over here, sometimes it's more, kind of moving more towards, yes, vaginal birth, great. And if we need to do a C-section, no problem. And these folks are more like, if we can avoid a C-section, how do we support natural birth? That's just the kind of general situation, okay? And that's why all OBs, most midwife practices have OBs, because emergencies happen. And yet, here we're trying to say, hey, how can we make it the most natural as possible? That's the main difference here. Okay, and with that being said, like in the movies, typically OBs do tend to come in for the actual birth, right? So, and these days, look, with the rise and more people wanting to do things naturally, these folks are a little more crunchy, right? A little more, and you could have the most amazing, touchy-feely, lovey, connected OB that there ever was. All right? For sure. All right? And so, meaning they might come in a little bit more often, although in general, yes, these folks come in more at the end. Midwives, they're more hands-on, a little more crunchy, okay? And depending on the day, they could be delivering 5 other babies, meaning they also may not be able to come in all the time. Again, back to why a doula is so amazing, because they're there the whole time with you. And for your first rodeo, having some support that's there the whole time, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice, okay? So here you have it. These are the two main, you either have an OB or a midwife or a combination. And just so you have an idea of, what's going on through the birth process and coming in and coming and going, all right? So now that you have a general idea of the players, right, who the cast of characters that are around, you guys now, once you get settled in, you're pretty much just chilling out, right? First, we're going to talk here about a vaginal birth flow. And if she's in there for vaginal birth flow, with an epidural, without an epidural, this is how it started. You got settled in, you dropped all your stuff, she's in the gown with the monitors on. For you, Dad, when we're just wrapping kind of things back around, when you're packing for the delivery room, this labor and delivery room's typically on the colder side, so you want to bring some layers that you can take off, put on, so you're comfortable, right? And you're chilling out. And also you now, like today, you're going to be like, hey, number one, if she wants a vaginal birth, no epidural or anything, you guys are talking about figuring out a skill set to make that happen, right? Breathing class, some kind of recognizing that a little preparation is going to go a long way. All right. And also through the birth, if, she wants music, if movies are okay, because it's going to be this chunk of time from the time you get there through the birth. So now that we're settled in and you have an idea of the cast of characters, let's focus on your woman here for a second. All right. And then we're going to roll into all the different activities, you being the activity director and the different activities that you can help move your woman through this time frame between getting there and delivery. All right. How is her emotional state? Now, I'm here to share with you, even the most gung-ho, confident, empowered woman who's ready to rock and roll, they're still super vulnerable, dude, okay? Again, even if you have this beautiful relationship with the OB or the midwife and even the doula, essentially, unless you're at home, if you're out in either a hospital or a birthing center, and again, everyone's lovely and they want to make a beautiful experience for you guys, and most of the time, the people are relative strangers, okay? And where am I going with this? She's spread eagle. I mean, the nurses are coming in, again, like people are checking out her vagina, sticking their fingers in there, oh, she's this much dilated, hooray! She's pretty vulnerable, dude, right? So just again, coming into where we really come in, being grounded, being even just aware by this conversation, like she's really pretty vulnerable, even if she's like super empowered, all right? To kind of illustrate how vulnerable she is, just think about you being in the bed, okay, in a gown, with your balls hanging out, and everyone coming around every 30 minutes. Oh, let's jiggle, 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 jiggle. Oh, look at this, guys. Come check this out. Jiggle, 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 jiggle. Strangers, all right? So, you want to, if you can, again, being grounded, taking care of business. You guys have an idea now, of course, in a big way, recognizing what kind of birth she wants and understanding. And just really, it's such a time, talking about starting off and welcoming your baby home. It is such an opportunity for you to shine here. And being grounded and being selfless, right? It's really not about us. It's all about her right now and this baby. Yes, of course. Yes, you of course. But we are involved and we are part of this by being selfless, right? By being grounded, recognizing everything's on her. This is not about us. It's about us supporting and making this an amazing, safe environment. So in that way, it is about us. And a lot of it is not about us. It's about focusing on her, recognizing, where she's at, helping her through these contractions and through the experience and creating a safe environment. All right. So just having that perspective of being selfless through this time. Like everything comes back, right? You give love to get love. You give love to get love. And respecting that it really is she's vulnerable, dude. Okay? And being grounded here for her, she's going to remember it. Everyone remembers it. Your baby's going to remember it. They're going to know it. And you're going to know it, right? So just bringing that into perspective, how relevant you are, being there, being grounded. It's only the more grounded you are, the more chill everyone is going to be. And that could be the most relevant thing we can do through this birth is, mature up, right? This is a natural thing for two adults. It's very intimate, creating this safe experience, right? A safe environment so she feels safe. And not like it's some kind of childish thing, oh my God, we're going to get into all that. Recognize that she's vulnerable, all right? Next, let's start going over the actual different positions that you can move her in through this labor process.